Hey, what's going on, people, weeples? I want to thank you all for coming again to check out Spectre of Truth, yours truly, and another episode of Facts, Reviews, and Opinions. All right? I appreciate that. Appreciate y'all for coming back again. I got a good episode for you today. I had said a long time ago that I really wasn't, well, I got basically after I finished season 1, I said I wasn't going to get all into these relationships and things again. You know, the men versus women, black men versus black women, and the white men, they complaining about their women, and I wasn't going to go into it, but it's a whole new generation out here now, and they're confused. It's a ton of women. They're all online, they're all over the internet, and they're all asking the same question. Where are the good men at?
Where are the men that actually care about emotional connection?
Well, the first place that some women should look that are actually asking that question would be the friend zone. You know, that place that a lot of women put men that actually show them kindness, consideration, and understanding. Try looking there first.
Like, where are the men that actually want to build something with their person?
And the second place that some of these men will be found will be sitting quietly in their homes, enjoying the peace and tranquility that comes with being single.
Like, where? Where are they?
One's not going to find them up there.
Because I don't understand. It's just like that's long gone. Emotional, spiritual, and mental connection is completely fucking gone, apparently.
No, it's not. But a lot of women forget that part of actually finding that connection would involve listening to their partner, not just their partner having to listen to them.
Where are all the men? Where can I find a good man? Where can I find a man? Where are all the men?
Where are all the good men that don't cheat? Where are all the good men that still respect women to understand that they don't deserve to be played with, lied to, and manipulated?
And the gag is that we don't even have those type of men. We don't even have macho men. We have no men. Where are the men? What is a man? I'm still trying to reach Candace, so tag her, please. Candace, what is a man, baby? What is a man? What happened to the men? Did the feminists get rid of all the men? Where are them?
They're also asking, when am I ever going to get married? Or how come men don't approach women anymore? All right, they're all so confused now, and they feel like that men should still be running up on them and begging them for their time and attention at every turn. You know, like it was back in the day. You know how we used to get down back in the day, man. We was pull over along the side of the curb, be driving slow alongside of, what's going on? Can I talk to you for a minute? You know how we used to do, man. But those days are gone. It's over now. And now they asking the question, why? What happened? The previous generation knows. They was around when it was happening. They knew what was going on. The new generation coming up is confused. They don't get it. When this stuff was going down, when men were making the decision to split, the ones that's asking the question now was like maybe 12, 13 years old. Now they in their 20s and 30s, and now they're asking the question. So men never went back to doing the catering and the chasing and, the big dates and big dinner dates and stuff, year-long courtships. We never went back to that. So now they trying to figure out what happened. Okay. Men were, used to really cater to women. They used to beg them to can I take you out? Please, what you doing this weekend? Please, can I take you to a dinner? I'll take you to a movie, and we go see anything you want to go see. I get you some drinks. But men was begging them.
Girl, your boy can help you put that fire. Look at the bubble.
You know what I'm saying? Y'all remember when that stuff was, man. I knew a guy online, man. He used to spend hundreds of dollars a meal on different women that he had met. He was also started going down to South America a lot. He was spending big money down there, and he would come back and talk about how much money he spent down there, taking women out to eat and drink and, flashing his cash around and stuff like that. So then, but that was like, I think like 2016, 17, something like that. I talked to him today. What's going on, man? How you been, man? What's everything cool? Yeah. What's going on with the girlies, man? He called them baddies. What's going on with the baddies, man? You still hooking up with the baddies? I'm done with all that, man. See, he got tired of spending that money. He got tired. He saw it. He finally caught on. I knew he would, and I told him he was gonna wake up one day. I said, man, you're gonna be doing this forever. He caught on. He got tired. $200 a plate, $150 a plate. He done with that now. So now he right on board with everybody else. Man, I'm at the house, man. I'm chilling. I'm kicking back. So he's done with it. But so this is across the board. Whereas now you have where millions of men have shut down the gravy train. They're done with it and have moved on, and they are now quite happy to spend their free time just working on their hopes and dreams, playing video games, or just binging on good movies. And I'm among that group. All right, but why? What caused this? So it's a lot of people don't know. We know what went down, but there's ones coming up, this new generation, they really confused of what happened, and they don't understand why men are not out here. You all know about these dating events they're doing now, speed dating and all of that. And no men ain't going out to that. We not. What is the point? Go out to that for what? Nobody's going. The women are going out there. They flocked out there. Men at home at the, laid back, watching the movie, man. We chilling. Nobody going out there, man.
So we have been waitlisted for speed dating. I guess way more women than men signed up. So unless a lot of men sign up before the event, we don't get to go.
Dating right now in 2024 is the hardest thing that I've ever done in my entire life.
I am out here wiping mounds of snow off of my car just so I can head to a speed dating event tonight that I paid $40 for to play icebreaker games with random men. What am I doing? This isn't even worth it. What is this all for?
I'm gonna say it, and you're not gonna like what I have to say. You're not gonna like it, man. You're not gonna like it. Where are the real men at? I'm sick of it.
To a singles mixer, and only women showed up.
So men are just no longer interested in running behind women, begging for their time, begging for their attention, dumping hundreds, even thousands into showering them with food and expensive gifts, and then marrying them and putting them up in big houses and nice cars and having babies with them. That's men. Men break their backs now trying not to have no babies with women. They just that's a big no. You do that is like sacrilege today to get one of these women pregnant. So that's gone. It was cool in the 50s, in the 60s, in the 70s, and maybe a little into the 90s. But today, for a man to go that route, and any man, if he's really being honest, would tell the man that's thinking about getting somebody pregnant, thinking about doing these hookups, if he's honest, he will tell him that he is absolutely insane. Something wrong with your head if you do it. Why? Well, the short answer is pretty simple. Because any man who does it today, in this day and age, getting women pregnant, still laying up and, out here kicking it, this one and that one, they got them on rotation. You know how they used to do back in the day. You do that today, man, you are batshit crazy. There's something wrong with you. And that is a man who really does not care about throwing his life away, throwing his finances away, and throwing his property away. And even if you don't literally throw it away, you are putting everything in jeopardy. And you don't care about that if you're doing that, if you're living like that. Okay? That's the short answer. The long answer is quite a bit more complex. And the reason it's complex is because most people, especially black people who don't know law, a lot of black people really bad at, they don't understand law. They don't know history. And they have a tendency to get caught up in their feelings rather than getting caught up in the facts. Okay? Because see, when you talk to women about any of this, they will encourage you to do it. Come on, You don't need no protection. Come on, we good. I trust you. You know, I trust you, right? They want you to have sex with them raw. Take the chance of it. Well, I ain't gonna get pregnant. Wait, here go this one. I can't get pregnant. Y'all heard that one. I can't get. You could do anything you want. I can't get pregnant. See what I'm saying? Why are they so free and anxious and available for you to raw dog? What's going on? They didn't used to be like that. Now today, you can raw dog, man. It's cool. Come on, yeah, come on. Because they want to get pregnant. All right, and what they're trying to really basically manipulate you into falling for it, you could say, get them pregnant, and then later on play the victim, and it's all your fault. You ain't shit because you're not there taking responsibility and being a permanent part of her life when that's not what you signed up for. You thought y'all was just kicking it, and then you find out later on, like, you got your plans, but she had her plans already too.
A lot of people got something to say about the fact that I got 6 kids with 6 different men. So I'm just gonna tell y'all why it is better to do it this way. If I had 6 kids with all the same dude, I get 34% of his income, which is only $680 a month. If I got 6 kids with 6 different dudes, I get 17% from each one of them, which is $340 a month from each one. $340 a month times 6 baby daddies is $2,040. So why don't you have 6 baby daddies?
And you thought your plans was gonna really, play a part. Her plans override your plans because she the one, once she get pregnant, it's all up to her. You help us, now nothing you can do. All right. So, but if you say that you don't want to, all right, then they flip on you. Okay, they'll tell you that, and they'll turn on the man that told you not to. Well, don't listen to him. He just been hurt. He's jealous. He don't know your woman, so don't listen to him. My all-time favorite justification women use to manipulate men into doing what they want is to try to convince you, well, we're not all the same. That woman might be the love of your life. Go ahead. You should go ahead and get with her. See, they'll speak up for each other. They'll rep for each other. One will try to push you towards going to the other one, and they'll talk and go back and forth with each other, right, when you're not around. And then one will coach the other one in the game plan on how best to get you. See? So you thinking like, I'm just with this one. Nah, you with her, and she's being coached by all of her girls. See, you're not just with her, you with all of them. You just don't know that they're in the picture. But when you're not around, she's talking to them. And so when she comes back to you, she's coming back to you with an agenda that they all came up with. And you don't even know what you're really up against. You think y'all just, hooking up, getting together, and it's just you and her. So a lot of women, women in general, really only tend to look at situations from their own perspectives. So when you talk to a woman about marriage, to them, but they'll always tell you it's a good idea. It's awesome. Yeah, this is an awesome idea. This is a great move for you and her. You and her, or if it's you and that woman, we should get married. But she'll evaluate. If it don't seem like you can provide her that lifestyle, that step up that they're looking for, they wasn't quite as picky back in the day. Today they talking about he got to be making $80,000.
How much should a man make?
Like $300,000. Like, I guess if they made less than that, I feel like we wouldn't have the lifestyle I wanted.
Ideally, my husband needs to be making like $650,000. If I'm making this much and I have this lifestyle, this person cannot have a lesser lifestyle than me. Otherwise, it is not going to work out.
Anywhere from 70 to 100K. I would have to say 127.
$500,000? Is that bad?
Probably 150 to $250,000 a year. That's my guess.
If your wife can spend more than you make, like, you need to make more money. So it really just depends. 150 maybe to 250,000 a year would be comfortable for sure. The more the merrier.
What do you think is the median income for age 31 is $52,776.
So my expectations are not realistic.
How much money should a guy make in a year?
Like $500,000. $500,000.
Like actually?
You need money? You need money. Because my boyfriend literally works at like Chick-fil-A, and he makes like that much.
He tells you he makes that much?
Yeah. Wait. Works at Chick-fil-A. I don't understand. He makes how much? $500,000 a year? Wait, why are you guys confused about that?
That's what he tells you?
I've seen it. Like, I've seen the money.
Maybe it is a good idea if you cheat on your boyfriend.
Oh, okay.
Like, you want to cheat on your boyfriend?
She has cheated on him already.
Yeah, you can't just tell the world that.
You know, he got to be 6'5", all that old kind of stuff. Okay, so they extra picky and they've been by themselves a long time. All right, but for the ones that's a little more open to it, yeah, it's a great idea. You know, and it is a great idea for them. Okay, see, women are not looking at this from the man's perspective, and they have absolutely no reason to ever advise a man not to get married. All right, because it's all to her benefit. Why would she tell you not to do it? And it's all to her girl's benefit. Why would she tell you not to marry her girl? Because she's hooking her girl up, because she know her girl getting ready to have some bags coming in once she hook up with your dumb ass. See, so they'll never advise each other not to do it. They always going to help each other to get that bag up. You see what I'm saying? So in addition, most women, actually, not especially now today, didn't used to be so much back in the day, but today most of them are feminists. So they're always going to give advice that benefits women, and that's especially if they're advising men. They're always going to advise him to the benefit of the women and to the detriment of the man. Yes, you should definitely get married either to her or to her girlfriend or to some other woman. She don't even know the woman, but because it's a woman, she's gonna move everything to that woman's benefit. And that's basically what a feminist is. Everything is pro-female and generally anti-male goes along with that, okay? But men are logical creatures who usually have the ability to listen to new facts and data and then change their course of action on the fly and sidestep some bullshit with the quickness and keep it moving, but in another direction. Okay, so for instance, men used to hang out on the corners and talk, just cutting up, cracking jokes, having fun Friday and Saturday, get a chance to, try to rap to the half-drunk club raps, the little club rats that would come out there and hang out on the corner, right? Y'all remember that? Everybody had a hangout spot back in the day. Some still got one today, but back in the day, that was the time, and for that kind of thing. And everybody had some kind of little spot that they would go hang at. And when the clubs let out, all the girls would come down there half drunk, half naked, and smelling like Newports and liquor. And we out there stepping up to the girls, trying to get phone numbers, trying to get them to go home with us that night, all right, if possible. And really what the men were doing is risking their lives. They don't know it. Back then, we thought we didn't have nothing to lose. Man, I ain't got no money, man. She can't rip me off, man. I ain't got nothing. We weren't thinking ahead. We weren't thinking past that. But yeah, they were risking their lives, because if they had got one pregnant, he's screwed. But we didn't think about that. We didn't know the whole law thing that went along with it. Because see, it takes decades to finally grow up enough to realize that if you really get what you want, if you really hook up with all these different girls and get numbers and names and stuff, that, if you had really had a chance to hook up with all of them, it can only go a few different directions. And you get yourself locked into a life path that very few really want to be on. You see what I'm saying? But when you grow up and mature, like I said, we could change direction anytime. So once you mature and you start to think for yourself, and you start to realize you do have a lot to lose, bam, men put on the brakes, we go a different direction. Men ain't out there no more. Now women trying to figure out what happened. Where's the men at? See, that's what happened. We changed direction. We realized this is not working for me. I am endangering myself. I am about to lose everything. I'm jeopardizing everything by being out here. I'm gonna change. Nah, this ain't working. Bam. We go off to the left. Now we at the house chilling, playing video games. We kicking back. We ordering pizza at the house. We ordering Chinese food at the house. They still at the clubs. They still on that corner hanging out, looking around. Where the men at? We gone. You see what I'm saying? That's it. So that's where that came from. That's why we changed direction. We realized we were endangering ourselves. We realized that there was absolutely no benefit to us doing these hookups, getting anybody pregnant, getting married. There's no benefit to that whatsoever for men. So here's basically how it goes. I put together like this little flow chart. Is that you could actually flow chart this out and show the benefits, the pros and the cons of relationships and marriage and pregnancy and all of this. Okay, so many men, including myself, have come to the realization and the understanding that if you get these girls that you want, you know, because we all like, oh, she bad, I'm gonna hook up with her. Oh my God, she bad, she look good, she even better than the other one. Yeah, I want this one, that one, that one. You know, these guys we used to try to have a harem, right? But if you actually had gotten these girls, if you get what you asking for, you'd be glad that you don't get always what you asking for. Because if you get what you asking for, here's the only thing, it can only go a couple different ways. Most of them are not to your benefit. Most of them are very dangerous and detrimental to a man, and very, very beneficial to the woman. Okay, so but it's only a couple pathways. They think, you know, if I get with her, anything can happen. If I get with her, anything can. No matter who you get with, as a man, no matter who you get with, it can only go a couple different ways with no matter what girl you choose. Okay, so I put this chart together just to show y'all. And y'all tell if I'm wrong, hit it in the comments. Let me know if I'm wrong. So check this out. This is one option. This is one pathway that can happen if you get with somebody that you want to really be with and y'all hook up. Here's one of the ways it could go. So she might lie to you and the phone number ends up being fake. See what I'm saying? Okay, that's done. That's a dead end. It's over. You wasted your time. That's one pathway. Wrong number, bad number. She just wanted you to get you away from her. So she gave you a bad number. Okay, so that's one pathway, right? We've all had that. She gave you a fake number. Dead end. Pathway number 2, the number is real. So you call and talk. And if you don't like each other after talking, right? Dead end, and it's over. You wasted your time, that's another dead end. See? So, third pathway. If you do like each other and she might want to have sex with you right away, she might even like right there, like, hey, come on, let's go that night, right? So it could happen, and it does happen. So then that puts you on a different route now. So y'all hooking up right off the bat, you know. So that's a whole nother path. Now y'all moving forward, right? So then something else could happen during sex. You could end up not liking each other, and now that you are in person, now that you are spending time together, you realize you kind of don't like her too much, or she don't like you too much, or she got a little attitude that you picking up on that you didn't pick up before when y'all was hanging out drinking. Now that you all are actually sitting down and talking and laying up together and everything, you're not really feeling her that much. She really don't have nothing to talk about, nothing to say. You know, she's looking at you kind of funny. She not happy with you, whatever. She don't like where you live. She don't like your place. So a lot of people in hookups seem like a good idea on the phone or online, but are actually a horrible idea in person. And it don't take long to realize this ain't, I'm not feeling him. She'll say, I'm not feeling him. He'll say, I'm not feeling her. And you know, So, and that's another dead end, right? It's over. You wasted your time. That's done, right? Another path can kick in, where during the sex, y'all might actually end up liking each other even more than you did before. Maybe a little too much. And then boom, she gets pregnant. Congratulations. You just played yourself, sir. And you are now looking at paying this girl hundreds or even thousands of dollars in child support for the next 20 years. That's 2 decades, brother. You're done. Meanwhile, you don't even know her. You barely know. You probably don't even know her last name, man. Y'all were just hooking up. Y'all were just having fun. And she's pregnant, and you are locked into her for the next 20 years. And she don't really like you even that much either. Y'all cool. Y'all kind of like each other, but not that much. Y'all wasn't really trying to be 20 years, interacting with each other, entangled with your lives, entangled and all that. But it's there now. She's pregnant. And she done told you right to your face, I'm not getting rid of it. You're done, man. So now you are a source of passive income to her. You have turned yourself into her own little personal stock exchange. All right? So what this means is, what is passive income? A lot of people don't know what passive income means. What this means is, she's getting paid even while she's asleep, while you're out there working 60 to 80 hours a week to afford it. Thanks to you, she will be driving a new Lexus in a few months, while your kids eat cold hot dogs and ramen noodles. Because men pay all this money for this child support, but very rarely do the children actually benefit from that money. She benefits from that money. She's still telling your kids, you look just like your goddamn daddy. Get the hell away from me. Get your ass upstairs. Get the hell. Don't come down here no more today. And if she does feed them, then like I said, cold hot dogs and ravioli, man. Ramen noodles. Here, go on now. Y'all get the hell away from me. I'm tired. And the kids just get run upstairs, man. Maybe with some food, maybe not.
Look, y'all. Every fucking day, my baby daddy come here with one fucking meal for my child. But I have 3 other kids. We have 1 kid together, but he only want to come and bring one thing at McDonald's. But what about my other kids? How come you can't feed my other kids at McDonald's though? Like that bogus as hell. Like, you're not finna sit here and make my other kids feel left out, and you're only bringing one child something to eat. Look, there he go, and I bet you he only got 1 thing in there. I bet you he don't even. I'm finna expose out of him so people can see how he really is. It ain't more than enough food in that bag for everybody. What's up? Because I'm finna expose you. What? Because that don't look enough for all my kids. That don't look enough for all my kids. What is that? That's just 1 burger? 1 burger, 1 fry?
What he like? What do you mean?
Okay, what about my other kids?
What about your other kids?
Okay, but them your kids' siblings though.
What are you talking about? What are you mad
Them
about?
my kids, them your kids' siblings though.
So what you?
So my other kids finna be left out.
You didn't feed them?
You know I don't give my food stamps to the 7.
Lisa, how is that my problem?
But if you're trying to help out though, you're not helping out.
I'm not trying to help. I'm trying to help my son.
But how are you helping your son when you're only getting food for just him and not the other kids, his siblings?
Lisa,
them are his siblings
Lisa,
though.
He's
not finna eat in front of all his other siblings and they're not eating on McDonald's. Why do I gotta put?
Bring him out to the car. I'll let him eat
No. He's not finna eat that shit at all if you can't bring enough for everybody.
Lisa, so you telling me that I bring my son food? I gotta bring your kids food too now?
Yes.
You sound dumb.
How is that dumb? You sound dumb. You sound dumb.
Where are they daddies at? Nobody told you to talk to them other. You had them other kids. Them your responsibility. They're not my responsibility.
Okay, but if you're gonna bring one, you need to bring it for all. How do that shit look that I'm letting one child eat McDonald's and all the rest of the kids can't eat no fucking McDonald's? So you know I get food stamps on the 11th.
That ain't 3 kids that ain't mine. 3 kids that ain't mine. What
yeah, they're his siblings. You knew what you was getting into when you had a baby with me.
No, the I didn't.
Yes, you did.
You expect me to take care of all the kids? They're not my kids.
Okay, but you still had a baby with me who have kids with other people. I still have other kids.
Why are you recording me? First of all,
Because I'm exposing you. Everybody think you such a motherfucking good daddy.
I'm a good daddy.
No, you're not. No, you're not. You're full of shit in this bullshit. You only come here with one fucking piece of food for one child.
The child that's mine, silly.
No, that's dumb that you can't feed the other kids. Don't feed nobody at all then. He can't take that shit.
So listen what
He
you
can't
said.
eat it.
Maybe if you had one or two, I can maybe. You got, it's 3 extra kids. What the f? You all like going to my motherfucking account, spending money on all those kids. Them not my kids.
Them are your kids' siblings though. Dumb.
So that's what you gonna go with? That's the one you gonna
Those are your fucking kids' siblings.
They my so that means
Yeah.
I take care of them.
So don't. No, I didn't say you have to take care of them. You can bring them something to eat if you bring one something to eat.
I bring them food every other day. What do you mean?
Exactly, but you don't never bring food for the other ones. You know I get my food stamps on the 11th.
Your babies.
Okay, but I'm saying we share the same kid as well.
Absolutely. So if you want to, if you feel the way about eating, take him in the room and let him.
I'm not taking my kid in the
Send him
room.
down to the car. He ain't got to eat in front of his brothers and sisters. He can come right out to the car and eat with me.
No. You know what? Fine. Give it here.
Thank you.
Give it here. Give it here.
Kids,
Give it here.
You sound stupid.
Dumb. He ain't eating this. You.
Why don't you just do that?
Because you ain't bringing up for all the other kids. You stupid. Selfish as a like you're dumb as hell. You're dumb as hell. He not finna eat that shit. Dumb.
Take care of him anyway.
Dumb. He not finna do that. If you can't do it for all, don't do it for none of them.
But she got her money. And she taking that money. She got her some new purses. She got her some new clothes. She got her some new shoes. She got her new car parked out there. And, and then she probably ain't even with you no more. All right. She got her a new man riding in the car you paid for. And every time she see you, she's telling you to hurry up and run her money and calling you a punk ass while she got your kids sitting in her new man's lap in the back seat or on the passenger side, right? All it is while you move into your mama's basement because all that money you giving her got you broke. See? So that's the pathway number 5, right?
Call your fucking daddy right fucking now. Tell that bitch it's payday. We don't get paid on fucking Fridays. I need my shit on Monday. You tell that funky fat bitch.
Where it worked out, y'all was cool for a while and she got pregnant. That's another pathway. And then that usually is the way that goes is, he feel like it's too much money. She feel like it's not enough. They start bickering back and forth. And, and so now y'all fighting over the kids. Y'all fighting over money. She can't stand him no more. He can't stand her. They not together. They was just trying to have some fun, but she got pregnant. She ain't get rid of it. And now he's a source of income for her. See, that's pathway number 5. Pathway number 6 is you could decide not to pay her. Not giving you shit. Hell no. Now you got a warrant out for your arrest. And you go to jail whenever they find you. And even when you get out, if you still don't pay, you going back to jail. She got a string around your testicles. She could just drag you around any way, which way she want to go. You gave your rights and your freedom up after you laid with her. So that's option number 6. Y'all see what I'm saying? We up to 6 options. And 3 or 4 of them was dead ends. 2 of them was the man's life is destroyed. We only up to 6. And he's already ruined twice. All right. So, number 7, another path is that the man might decide to try to do everything the right way. He said, man, the right way, right? So, what he thinks is the right way. So, these little young cats that don't know. So he might be like, damn, she pregnant. Oh, man. Well, look, let me go ahead and do the right thing and marry her. I'm gonna do the right thing, man. I want to do it right. So you can do that. Now, after a few years of hell, you've been working night and day trying to support her and the baby and everything. Come home and she's meaner to you than a damn honey badger in a snake pit. They don't care how long you work or how much you provide. Once they decide I'm I'm not happy. Those are the key words, man. I'm not happy. It's over. And it is nothing that you can do to ever make them happy, because you don't know why the hell they're unhappy. They just say, I'm not happy. I'm bored. I'm tired. This ain't what I thought it was going to be. It could be anything. There's nothing you can do to change it.
Apparently, the husband and wife, they're going through a divorce. According to the man who posted this, his neighbor, the wife won the house and the husband rented the heavy equipment and demolished the home. The husband, frustrated that he paid for the house, she's able to file for divorce and take the house from him that he paid for. And this is why so many men are against marriage these days in America, where the marriage rate continues to decrease and divorce rates are all so high. Think about it. For every 2 couples that get married, at least 1 couple will end in divorce. And divorces, they're happening sooner as well, within 5 to 7 years. 8 out of 10 of these divorces initiated by women, and when kids are involved, women are getting custody of the kids, making men responsible for child support. If there's ever a lapse in payment, the man's driver's license can be suspended, or he can end up behind bars, both impacting his job, his livelihood, and ability to fulfill his child support obligation or any other obligations. On top of child support, men, they're paying alimony, giving up resources like their retirement accounts, and then even giving up the house that he's paid for, because usually in a marriage, it's the man who pays the mortgage and major bills. Women don't pay any significant bills, and sometimes no bills at all. So of course, now men, they're looking around like, what is the benefit of marriage today for men? The answer that women have memorized is legacy. No matter the woman, if you ask them why should a man get married in 2022, most of them will say legacy. And I'm convinced they had a Sisterhood Anonymous meeting and they're all on code with that answer. I'm here to tell you it's all BS for the majority of you though, because many of you will end up with a woman with a modern mindset and you're gonna have kids with her, get married, and you still won't have a legacy. For one, most of the time if you go through a divorce, she's going to take the kids away from you, she's going to control the kids. You're going to work hard for those kids every day, breaking your back to provide for them, sending them child support, and when they come begging for extra, you're going to send them that too. Doesn't matter what some of you do. If you had kids with a toxic woman, then she can still turn your kids against you, ruin your relationship with your kid or kids, and you still won't have a relationship with them. Doesn't matter how many games you attend, doesn't matter how much child support you pay. You could be paying $300 a month, or you could be paying $3,000 a month. You could be paying $10,000 per month. It still won't matter, and it doesn't guarantee that you will have a relationship with those kids. The mother, your woman, the ex, it really depends on how level-headed she is and whether she's toxic or not. But she has the power to turn those kids against you. You give up everything, the house, and then still have to go buy another one or pay rent somewhere to keep a roof over your own head too. This is how something like this can happen.
All right. So now you're paying child support and alimony. Okay. Now a lot of guys don't know. They don't understand the law, and they don't know what any of this means. What you mean alimony? They kind of have an idea, but they don't really. A lot of them today didn't have a father to explain it. And so most people today, they don't have even a computer in the home anymore to really do heavy research. So they don't have a way to really easily and quickly look up all of this information. So yeah, you can use your phone, but in comparison to a desktop computer, monitor, and a full-size keyboard and all of that, just using your phone to do research is like trying to run a marathon on one leg, all right? You can do it, but it's 100 times more difficult and it's 100 times more time consuming. You sitting there on the phone trying to look something up, right? But on your computer, it's like, you typing 10 times faster, man. You just typing like this, you all fingers. On the phone, you just like this, you try to type, But when you doing all the fingers, man, you on a full keyboard, man, you like this, you looking stuff up, man, you flying. And the speed on the computer is ridiculous. So you could, if you were able to really go in and look this stuff up, you would be able to see what these things mean, and you would be a little more educated. When you're just doing this, you're probably not doing a whole lot of research because it's a little too tedious. All right, and that's really right where they want you, just kind of locked in and not knowing too much and not doing too much, because you can't really be that productive on a little phone doing this all day. They tell you it's the same thing as a computer. I'm telling you it's not. It's not even close. All right, but you need to understand these things. But rather than give you another 4-hour speech on, the legal ramifications of alimony and child support and really what all of this stuff means and the legal jargons and the legal terms and stuff, I'll give you a repost of a few classic yet awesome videos that really put it into terms that you will definitely understand. Check this out.
John, are you going to have that monthly report ready on time?
Yes, I'm taking care of it.
Well, make sure it's done on time. Last month's report was late. Better get your act together or I'll have to give you a negative review at your next employee evaluation.
Asshole. Honey, I'm home.
Make sure you take the bins out, and it's your turn to cook tonight. I want chicken.
Okay.
Get out of the way of the TV.
So, how was your day?
Good. I had brunch with Jennifer, then I did some clothes shopping, and in the afternoon I went for a massage and a spa treatment.
That's great. You smell nice tonight.
John, I'm not in the mood. It's been a very stressful day, and I've got a headache now. Good night.
John, are you still on track to get that monthly report done on time?
Yes.
Well, make sure you do, because your last report was late, and if you make that kind of mistake again, there could be serious consequences for your career.
Hey, honey, how was your day?
It was good. I had lunch with Jennifer again, then we went and saw a movie together. How about you?
It was okay. Is dinner gonna be ready soon?
Dinner? I've been busy and working hard all day, and now you want me to cook you dinner? Why do you expect me to do so much? Is it so much trouble to get a little bit of help with the housework from time to time? Jesus!
Take the time to smell the roses.
Hi, honey. I'm sorry I...
John, what are you doing? Quit wasting time and get back to work! John, what do you think you're doing? I quit!
Honey? Are you home? Honey? I'm coming, honey! Honey?
Yeah, take that shit, bitch.
Fuck yeah. Stacy, what's going on?
Uh-oh, another husband came home. Time to bounce, dog.
Chad, Tyrone, wait.
What do you mean, wait?
Sorry, babe. We've got 4 more housewives to go have sex with today before their husbands come home. Bye. Chin up, cowboy. It can only get better from here. Peace, nigga.
This is all your fault. You don't treat me right anymore.
I just don't know what happened, you know? I work so hard to provide for her. I help out around the house. She gets to spend her days having lunch with friends and going to the movies and getting beauty treatments. I don't know what else to do to make her happy. God, what now?
That's him, officer. I'm so scared.
You're under arrest.
Why? For what?
You're a wife beater.
What? I never laid a hand on my wife. Stacy, what did you tell them?
Enough. It's off to jail for you, mister.
Officer, you have to understand, I never laid a hand on my wife.
I know.
What do you mean, you know?
We get a lot of false domestic violence reports. It happens all the time. But it's my job to put you in jail.
But if you know I didn't do anything, why do you have to put me in jail?
Because vagina, that's why. You see, I work for the government, and the government worships vagina. Every law they make is in the interests of vagina. Like the one that says I have to put you in jail without any evidence because your wife says so and wants to divorce rape you.
Wait, what's divorce rape?
You'll see. Now sit down and shut up.
Don't I at least get my phone call?
Okay, John, time to go.
Don't I have to go to court or something?
There's no need for court. Court is for the people who really abuse their wife. For fake cases like yours, we just put you in jail long enough for you to get divorce raped.
What's divorce raped?
You should chat with your lawyer, John. He's waiting outside.
Okay.
John, this is Paul, your lawyer.
Hi, John. Why don't we go to my office and we'll discuss what's happening to you?
Okay.
John, I hate to be the one to break the news, but your wife is filed for divorce.
But why? I don't understand.
She says you're a bad husband, abusive and violent.
But that's not true. I've never raised a hand to her in my life.
It doesn't matter, John. She's claiming you're abusive and violent and is trying to divorce rape you. The courts will most likely award her your house, its contents, as well as most of your money.
But it's a lie. I'm a good husband, and she's been cheating on me. Just the other day, I came home to find her getting gangbanged by 2 guys while I was at work. This is bullshit.
John, you obviously don't understand how marriage and divorce works in our society these days. Here, have some red pills while I explain.
I don't want any red pills.
John, it's important you take some red pills or you cannot understand.
You see, John, the reason your wife is getting your house and most of your money, the reason she's able to make up lies and have you thrown in jail, the reason for all of this is vagina.
What do you mean, vagina?
Well, there are some women in the world, usually obese, disgusting, sexually frustrated women with body odor and blue armpit hair, that have convinced everyone that they are oppressed, and therefore everyone else must do what they say.
Oh.
They call themselves feminists. They go about whinging and complaining about men nonstop, making up lies about things like the wage gap and rape culture, all because they're fat and ugly and nobody wants to fuck them.
Oh.
Keep taking those red pills, John. In the family court, they've rigged the system, so anytime a woman says she's scared of her husband or he might be abusive, the husband's thrown in jail. This gives the woman enough time and evidence to commit divorce rape and take all of the men's property.
Well, surely it's not that bad. We've got no kids, so our property has to be split 50-50, right?
Keep taking those red pills, John. Sometimes a man is lucky and gets to keep half his stuff. But unfortunately, most of the time he's divorce raped and loses almost everything.
Well, I don't know about that. So what are people out there doing about this stuff? How can we fight it and make it right?
There are some people trying to stop these ham beasts from wrecking everything. Men's rights activists, for example. But as of yet, they haven't managed to fix the problems in the family court and stop divorce rape. The best strategy for now is to do what's known as going MGTOW.
What's MGTOW? How do I do that?
MGTOW stands for Men Going Their Own Way. It's a term used to describe men who see that the dating, relationship, and marriage game in the West offers little benefit to them and simply choose not to play. A lot of them still have sex, one-night stands or prostitutes, for example, but the key to their strategy revolves around never getting into a committed relationship with a woman of any kind whatsoever.
Sounds good. I'll just go MGTOW then.
Unfortunately, it's not that easy. You already got married and are possibly going to be the victim of divorce rape. Fortunately, you don't have any children, so there won't be any ongoing child support payments, but as I said, in divorce court, your wife is likely to be awarded your house and almost all of your money. You can go MGTOW, but only after the divorce rape.
Yeah, we'll see.
This court is gathered today to hear the divorce proceedings of John and Stacy Smith. Court is now in session. Proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, this man is a misogynist. As this police report shows, my client is terrified of him becoming violent and should be protected from this garbage human being at all costs. I request the marital home and 100% of the couple's savings be awarded to my client. My client's ex-husband oppressively forced her to stay at home and not work, so she has not been able to develop a career and maximize her earning potential the way he has. Thank you, Your Honor.
Your Honor, there is no evidence my client ever was physically violent with—
Objection.
Sustained. In this court, you can never say anything to suggest a woman is lying. That's misogyny. Women don't lie.
Your Honor, my client has worked full-time for 10 years and dutifully supported his wife. He has never stopped her from trying to enter the workforce.
Objection.
Sustained. I warn you, sir, to stop suggesting that women are lying. That's misogyny. Women never lie. If you commit such an act of bigotry and hatred again, I will be forced to hold you in contempt.
Your Honor, I request that the marital assets be divided 50-50 as the couple have no children, and that is what is fair in this situation. Thank you, Your Honor.
Mr. Smith,
Yes, Your Honor?
after reviewing the evidence in front of me, it is clear that you are a hateful bigot who did nothing but beat and oppress your wife your entire marriage.
Well, what evidence is that?
You have a penis. It is the order of this court that Mrs. Smith receive 100% of the marital home and its contents, as well as 75% of your savings. I should also point out to you that the only reason I am leaving you with any money at all is so you don't claim welfare and become a burden on the state. I order you to vacate yourself from the marital home within 30 days. This court is adjourned. All hail the mighty vagina.
Sieg Heil!
Dismissed.
What happened? I'm sorry, John. Divorce rape was always a possibility. I'm afraid it happened to you, too. But why me, too? I worked like a dog to pay the mortgage off of the house while we were young. Now she gets the house and 75% of the money? I'm almost ruined. I'm left with less than 20 grand to my name. She's taken everything. I didn't believe you about divorce rape, but it's happened to me, too. We have to leave now.
We got him 100% of the house and 75% of the money. Cash and prizes, girlfriend. What do you think you'll spend it on?
I don't know. Maybe a new car? John only bought me an old piece of crap before. I want a new BMW. What do you want?
I just want to say I hope you'll be happy. Goodbye and good luck.
Whatever. You got 1 week to get your stuff and get out of my house.
But the judge said I had a month.
I don't care. I'll call the cops and tell them you're trying to beat me up again, you loser. Get your stuff and get out of my life.
Ah, great. These two again.
What's up, nigga?
Where's Stacy?
Bitch is out. Come inside. Make yourself at home. I found some more beer out the back of the... Hey, cowboy, what's going on?
Just come to get my things.
Yeah, I heard. I got friends who've been divorce raped. Tough break.
Yep, me too. I gotta get my stuff and get out of here.
You want a beer first?
No, I better go before Stacy gets back.
Chill, nigga. Bitch is out. Pick up your shit, then come have a beer.
Okay, maybe just one. So then, Judge says, that bitch get the house and 75% of the money. And I'm like, fuck!
Man, that bitch be tripping. Yeah, that's rough.
Yeah, she didn't even care that Stacy was getting gangbanged by both of you. She just gave her all my stuff. Now I got no job, no wife, and only about 20 grand left.
Shit. Have you at least taken some red pills through all of this?
Yeah, my lawyer gave me some.
Well, let me give you some more. Here, take these. To me, it sounds like you are a typical nice guy in your relationship, but women don't want that. Despite what they say, women don't want a nice guy. That's bullshit.
So, what do they want then?
Well, could be any number of things, but in a nutshell, an alpha male. Word.
What's an alpha male?
Could be a rich guy, could be a buff guy, could be someone famous, or any combination of the above. But basically a guy that is better than almost all other guys in some way. Women want me because I'm rich. Yeah, bitches want me because I got a 12-inch cock. Bitches love them some 12-inch cock. Best part is, if you're an alpha male, You don't have to marry a woman, or date her, or meet her friends, or listen to her whine and complain all about her bullshit. They drop their panties for you anytime, any place. Or invite you over for sex while their husband's at work. Yeah, you gotta let that bitch know her place. Bitches got to know her job is to fuck me, suck me, and make my motherfucking dinner. If bitch ain't doing that shit, bitch be gone.
Maybe that's where things went wrong with us. We hardly had any sex at all the last few years.
Damn, nigga, that shit ain't cool. No wonder bitch left your ass if you ain't fucking her no more.
Yeah, maybe. What about this MGTOW thing I heard of? I gotta find out more about that. Oh crap, Stacy's home. What do we do?
Damn, nigga, chill. Yeah, you gotta relax, bro. Just let her know her place.
You think so?
Absolutely.
Yeah, okay. You're right. Here we go.
What the fuck are you doing here?
I'm here to tell you your place, bitch. Now get in the kitchen and make me a sandwich.
What did you say?
Whoa!
Get the fuck out of my house! Get the fuck out of here! I got you guys the food you guys wanted. Here you go.
Let's see here. How to go MGTOW. 4 steps to going MGTOW. Step 1. No long-term relationships with women. With sex being so easily available these days, there is no need for long-term relationships with women. By avoiding long-term relationships, you also avoid the risk of divorce rape. Well, that's good advice.
Hey, you reading an article about MGTOW and divorce rape?
Yeah. I just got divorce raped.
Me too.
Step 2. One-night stands only, or even better, hookers only. By only sleeping with hookers, you minimize the risk of divorce rape, false sexual assault allegations, and all the negative consequences that go along with it. Step 3. No more white knighting or being chivalrous. Stop doing favors for women just because they're women. Feminists have asked that women are treated equally, so treat them exactly the same as you would another man. Step 4. Live for yourself. Do what you want, what you feel like, what's in your best interests 100% of the time. What's this? Holidays in Paradise. Flights and accommodation for 4 weeks for $2,000. Enjoy the beach, warm weather, beer, women, gambling, golf, and alcohol. Fuck it. I need a holiday. Get away from all this shit for a while. Book now. Fly today. Confirm. Woohoo! Paradise, here we come!
Hello, sir. Your passport and plane ticket, please.
Yep. Here you go.
Do you have any luggage?
Just this bag.
Okay, sir. Your plane boards from gate number 3 at 4 p.m. Have a nice flight.
Thanks. Hey, so you're headed to Paradise?
Yeah, I just got divorce raped and I'm going my own way. Getting away from it all for a while, you know?
You got divorce raped? Me too.
Divorce raped? Me too.
Divorce raped? Me too.
Yep, me too.
Welcome aboard, and thank you for choosing Paradise Air. At this time, we would like to ask you to please put on your headphones and direct your attention to the screen in front of you. Thank you, and enjoy the flight. Welcome to Paradise Air, your gateway to paradise. As you may have noticed, all staff aboard Paradise Air are extremely attractive and dressed in sexy outfits for your viewing pleasure. We invite you to stare at them as much as you like. Are you sick and tired of the job you hate, the wife who doesn't fuck you, and the life you can't stand? Paradise is for you. With warm weather, endless golden beaches, world-class golf courses, alcohol, casinos, hookers and strippers everywhere you look. Paradise truly is every man's dream come true. On behalf of everyone at Paradise Air, we welcome you aboard and hope you enjoy your stay in paradise, the place where every man can be Dan Bilzerian for a day.
Yeah! All right!
Welcome to boundariesforeffectiveministry.org. As you may know from your own experience, and as you can see from these photographs, falling in love is a very personal matter between two people, and the decision to get married is also theirs and theirs alone. However, once they tell their families of their plans, it becomes clear that there is a communal aspect to marriage and matrimony that seems quite normal, because it is normal. What also seems normal to engaged couples is to go down to their county clerk and fill out an application for a marriage license. And this makes the marriage quite public and not a private affair or a private family affair, because it now includes the government. They do it because they think they have to get a marriage license, and because everybody does it. And they do it because, well, nobody ever told them that maybe they should consider how a marriage license changes their relationship to God. However, there are couples who understand the negative religious implications of a marriage license and wish to marry without one. The most common question we get from those couples is, would we be really married if we didn't have the state's permission, if we didn't have a license from the state? And so in this introductory video, we're going to answer that question from a Christian perspective. And in other videos, we're going to deal with questions about name usage, property ownership, access to each other in times of crisis, among other things. But we'll also consider questions that are not commonly asked, but which should be asked, such as, what is a license? Who gives it? Who holds it? And what happens as a result of somebody having a license? You'll be very surprised to know the answer to that question. So, let's get started. Welcome to boundariesforeffectiveministry.org and to part 2 of licensed marriage versus Christian matrimony. Now, to distinguish between things, you have to define the words so that the differences are made obvious. That's only common sense. So, in this video, we're going to distinguish between marriage, which is a civil contract, and holy matrimony, which is a religious contract or covenant and a divine sacrament in some churches. Here's what the American actor Matthew McConaughey said about his recent marital union in June of 2012. A marriage ceremony is not enough to enter into a state of matrimony. The ceremony is a public statement of your intent to do so, but the couple must consummate the marriage sexually and become one flesh, which is the reason God made humans to be male and female. In the Roman Catholic Church, there is a sacrament of matrimony, but not of marriage. A marriage agreement made even in a church during a nuptial mass does not lead to a state of matrimony, and it's a nullity in the church's eyes unless the marriage agreement is consummated sexually. Living in the religious state of holy matrimony, the couple is governed by God's law. Unlike the state of matrimony, there is no governing moral code in a licensed marriage. There is only the civil code created by politicians and enforced by judges and other government employees that govern your behavior as a married couple. The state could not care less about your moral behavior, whether or not you consummate the marriage, whether you commit adultery or include other people in your sex life. That's no concern to the state. To be sure, during a divorce proceeding, a judge with high moral indignation will abuse you for immoral behavior, but that is only related to disposing of your property or your children. It has nothing to do with offending God. The licensed marriage ceremony is sufficient for the state to have complete jurisdiction over your marriage.
Do you have an ongoing custody case?
Yes, we do.
Your Honor, this is not
And
related to
I
custody.
truly
Just a
believe-
second. Do you want the girls for yourself?
I want custody of my daughters, yes.
He wants custody of his girls himself. But just because you're a mother doesn't mean you get your children.
In part 3, we're going to see exactly what steps you took or may take to have the state control your spousal relationship and your family life. So we'll see you there. Welcome to boundariesforeffectiveministry.org. This is part 3 of the series Licensed Marriage versus Christian Matrimony. In this episode, we're going to define the 3 terms: application, marriage, and license, because each one of those things has significant legal effects in your life. So, let's get started. So the question becomes, how does the government get jurisdiction over your marriage, your property, and your children? The answer is that they get this jurisdiction because you've consented to it, and that's the first term we're going to deal with, and that's the application. The application is your consent to be governed by the state. Whether you're applying for a job, whether you're applying for admission into a university, you must apply and consent to the policies of that entity. So you give your consent to be governed by the state by filling out an application. That's the legal evidence of your consent.
All governments must maintain power through consent, not coercion.
Marriage is distinguished from matrimony. Marriage is a civil contract, and matrimony is a sacramental covenant. As a civil contract, the marriage is governed by state law. And it's also in the Constitution for the United States that the government cannot interfere in a contract between people. The state cannot interfere in your contract because it's expressly forbidden in the Constitution. So, as in any business relationship, if you want another partner in the contract, then you have to invite them in. They can't just barge in and become part of your deal. So in order to take jurisdiction over your marriage, you have to invite the state in as another partner to your marriage, so that when you apply, you add the state to your marriage contract. And the state, in a sense, becomes the mother-in-law that you never wanted, because the state is the controlling partner in that contract once you've given your consent. As we pointed out in part 2, matrimony is a religious covenant governed by God's law, the 10 Commandments. To enter the state of matrimony, the marriage act or the marriage ceremony must later be sexually consummated. This is not a requirement of business partners in civil marriages. And that's the distinguishing mark between living in the daily state of matrimony under God's law and living as business partners under civil law. So, what's a license? A license is a permission slip for you to do something that would be illegal if you didn't have that permission slip. Marriage has never been illegal. So what's going on here? Certain kinds of marriages are illegal. That's what's going on. In this case, it's plural marriages that are illegal. So, to summarize, an application is your consent which the state needs for the state to govern your marriage. Marriage is a civil contract between two people and a corporation known as the state, and is governed by state codes. On the other hand, matrimony is a religious, physical, and spiritual union under God's law. A license is a permission slip to do something that would ordinarily be illegal. As you can see, when you define the terms, an application for a marriage license has serious consequences. It's not just a formality. So, come join us in part 4. It should Welcome to boundariesforeffectiveministry.org and to part 4 of our series on licensed marriage versus Christian matrimony. In part 3, we saw that marriage was a civil contract between a man and a woman. Here, in part 4, we'll show how important it is to know the nature and the elements of any contract, whether it's a contract with God, your neighbor, or the state. There's no difference. The state needs your consent to join the marriage contract because no one can interfere in a lawful contract between two people. That's enshrined in the Constitution and is true of every contract since the Garden of Eden. In fact, we're going to use God's contract with Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden and how the serpent interfered in that contract. The modern-day state, however, gets the couple's consent to become the controlling party in their contract, just as God got the consent of Adam and Eve to govern their relationship, which he did with gusto when they defaulted on their contract with him. Whenever you apply to some entity, you consent to be governed by its policies and procedures, whether you're applying for a job or entry into a university or for some perceived benefit from the state. So, let's look at the skeleton of any contract. The elements of every contract are: it must be lawful subject matter. A contract on someone's life is not lawful because it violates the commandment, you shall not murder. The second element to any contract is that there must be a meeting of minds. Both parties to the contract must want the terms to go into effect. If there is duress involved, then the contract is voidable because there was no meeting of minds. The third element is that all material facts about the matter being contracted for must be disclosed. A material fact is one that makes you want to go forward with the contract. For example, both parties are free to marry, or not go forward with the contract. For example, one of the parties is already married. Material facts are what create a meeting of minds to take the deal or a decision not to take the deal. There's no deception in a valid contract. Thirdly, there must be an exchange of something of value between the parties. One person wants something of value from the other person, and vice versa, and that's what they have a meeting of minds about. That's what they're contracting over. If I want your Harley motorcycle, for example, and you want my money, we have a meeting of minds and a valid contract. But if you did not disclose the material fact that you don't legally own the Harley, then the contract is voidable. No valid contract is based on fraud. All contracts contain terms that govern the actions of the parties. So, in the Garden of Eden, God wants Adam to take care of his creation. That's God's valuable benefit or valuable consideration. Adam and Eve get to enjoy the garden as their home. That's their valuable consideration. But the terms are, you shall not eat from the tree in the middle of the garden, and the penalty is, if you do, you will surely die. Now, an interesting thing happens. The serpent comes along and convinces Eve that God committed fraud in the contract. Because the garden contained the tree of life, the serpent convinced Eve that they would not die if they ate from the tree in the middle of the garden. Eve defaulted on the contract and ate from the forbidden fruit and got Adam to do the same. The serpent had interfered in the obligations of a contract and caused the contract to go into default. The penalty clause kicked in, and Adam and Eve were cast out of the garden, which was then guarded so they could not access the tree of life and would surely die. The serpent was punished for interfering in the contract, and the same thing happens today. It is called tortious interference in a contract because it inflicts injury on the parties to that contract. Now it gets even more interesting. The U.S. Constitution says that no state shall pass any law interfering in the obligations of contracts. If it's unlawful to interfere in a contract from the Garden of Eden to the present day, how does the state get its authority to snatch people's children or decide who gets the property associated with a marriage? Is the state, like the serpent, tortiously interfering in your marriage contract when it inflicts these injuries on your conscience? No. So when the state removes your children from your home against your will, or tells you they must attend public schools or they must be vaccinated, you have a right to be upset, but you have very little, if any, remedy to alter such decisions by the state, because it is a maxim of law that he who consents cannot complain of an injury, and an injury is commonly called a tort. The state does not interfere tortiously in a marriage contract when they have become a legal third party to the marriage through your application for a marriage license. Wait a minute. Did you know that the state could remove your children from your care at their discretion? Did you know that state laws trump God's law after you've taken the state as a partner in a plural marriage? For example, in Cologne, Germany in July 2012, a court ruled that circumcision of male children was illegal. This, of course, interfered in the ancient contract between God and Abraham and affected all Jews and Muslims in Germany. And there is no appeal to God for protection against the state. When the people wanted a king, the state, to rule over them, God told Samuel of the evils of the king's law and warned them that when the king became oppressive, God would not hear their pleas for relief. When this takes place, you will complain against the king you have chosen, but on that day the Lord will not hear you, and neither will the state courts, because you have consented to their jurisdiction over your marriage.
But just because you're a mother doesn't mean you get your children.
That's the equivalent of saying, you've made your bed, now lie in it. Even if you are married in a church, the minister is the official state witness who will sign the marriage license on behalf of the state, thereby creating legal documentation that you have indeed contracted with the state to have jurisdiction over your family life. Under God's law, the first commandment requires that you not be enslaved to any earthly government. For enslavement means that you are ruled by arbitrary force to comply with man's law, even when it contradicts God's law. A marriage license application is no mere formality. It changes the boundaries from holy matrimony under God's law to a commercial business partnership under the corporate law of the state. We have seen that all contracts have the same elements, whether they are with God or humans. In the next part, we'll show some examples of what happens in a family court, and we'll give you some ideas of how people have told us they've handled the issue of marriage without a license. So we'll see you there in part 5. Welcome to BoundariesForEffectiveMinistry.org and to part 5 in our series of licensed marriage versus Christian matrimony. When you purchased a commercial marriage license, you put yourself under the jurisdiction of many state agencies. And because of that, a state can remove children from parents' custody without the parents' consent, because the state has jurisdiction over the children.
But just because you're a mother doesn't mean you get your children.
They can remove them even at gunpoint if you disagree with their policy.
A mother took the stand today defending her rights as a parent.
At the heart of it is the question, who decides what the best medical care is for a child? The government or the parents?
So you felt essentially they were putting poison in your daughter's body?
Psychotic medication is poison.
The Department of Human Services attempted to take the child from the mother.
Godbaldo barricaded herself in her home, and this lasted 10 hours.
Mary Ann was hauled off to prison for 5 days.
It was terrifying.
This is an example of how bad it can get when a parent resists state policy.
After months of fighting, Marianne Godboldo left court with an order to finally take her daughter home. Today, the judge ruled it was a parent's job, not the state's, to oversee medication, claiming a victory for parents everywhere.
So, what interest of the state is at risk when a parent objects to state policy? It can't be any interest in having parents behave responsibly because Marianne was behaving responsibly, protecting her child. It can't be the welfare of the child because her child was kidnapped at gunpoint and incarcerated in a psychiatric facility for 9 months. What the state is doing is enforcing a commercial contract you signed when you asked for and bought a marriage license. But it's not negotiated between the parties. It's an adhesion contract which is non-negotiable, take it or leave it, because the terms are dictated only by one party. For example, the terms of any government license are dictated by the government. All software licenses terms are dictated by the vendor. All credit card application terms are dictated by the bank, and the 10 Commandments are dictated by God. They're non-negotiable. The difference between God's contract is that its law is protective. It protects me from you and you from me, while all civil law is coercive in favor of the state. In particular, the family court is a tribunal of final arbitration. There are no appeals, and a profitable corporation owned by the state. You can check this out by going to the Dun & Bradstreet website, which lists all the profit-making corporations in the country, and type in its search engine a state, for example, like Kansas courts, and you will get back all the listings for Kansas courts, and you can get reports on them. Because the courts are profit-making corporations, it means there's no incentive to resolve family issues, so many children grow up under the direction of family courts until they're 18.
It's who you know and how much money you have. It doesn't have anything to do with the law. It doesn't have anything to do with justice.
The financial incentives are to keep these situations going. There's no financial incentive to settle the case. The evaluators make a ton of money. The attorneys for the minor and the family court attorneys are guaranteed payment for, if the child's 3 years old, for the next 15 years. Because they never settle, these cases never settle.
If there's money in the family, they'll appoint an evaluator. And first it will go to court mediation. If there's enough money, they'll recommend private mediation. Typically, they'll appoint a parenting coordinator, a parenting coach, a therapist for each family member. And the amounts that these people can charge are not regulated at all.
All these people that are making hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars statewide off of the whole family law machine, they want the court to make those orders because those orders are what get them paid.
These are the terms you agreed to when you bought an adhesion contract called a marriage license. So what do people do who do not get a marriage license and they live under God's law? Well, we don't give legal advice or necessarily endorse the methods people have told us about, but essentially they use private contracts, such as prenuptial agreements, joint property ownership, appointing each other as executors of their respective estates, powers of attorney. And so there you have it. May you always make an informed choice about the law you choose, God's law or man's law.
So I hope you all got something out of these videos and can now understand why so many men have removed themselves from the dating pool and will never get married. Okay? You can clearly see by this flow chart that there is really no path that you can take that will guarantee you a safe and happy relationship. Almost every single one will end in pain, misery, and financial destruction for the man. Personally, I've only been able to find one, maybe two routes that might give you your highest chance of success in a relationship. So one route is just not to marry her. Just live together in a non-common law state. So you want to check and see if your state is a common law state. You can just look that in. Is Wyoming a common law state? So you can just type it in and look it up and it'll let you know. So common law means that if y'all live together long enough and are in a relationship similar to marriage, then the state basically after a period of time considers you married. You didn't go downtown, y'all didn't sign nothing, but the state now has you listed as married. And so she now has all the same benefits and rights to come after you that she would as if you had went down and signed all those contracts. So not all states do it, but as the man, the one who's going to be damaged the most if she decides that she's bored and not happy, all right? Or maybe she feels like she found some guy with more muscles, a bigger dick, more money, or a more expensive car. I'm telling you, they'll jump ship for anything after you get them to where they are comfortable and bored. Those are your two death sentences, all right? She's comfortable and she's bored. Then when she decides to leave for whatever reason, she can make up any reason she wants. She's ready to go, all right? The courts are going to let her clean you out, just like you saw in those videos. They're going to take your children, and they might give them to her, they might give them to you, or they could decide that neither one of you all are qualified to take care of these children, and they're going to take all your kids away and give them to somebody else, and you don't know who it is, and you may very well may not be able to get them back. Just like Judge Judy said, it's not for you to decide. Once you all have in that marriage thing, or you signed some contracts, you made this state a third party to your relationship, they now have authority over that relationship. They'll do what they want to do with your property. They'll do what they want to do with your kids. See? So, but if you're not in a common law state, and you know, and you all just living together, this kind of relationship might really can be much better for the man and the woman, as long as she doesn't get pregnant. Because then, if she jumps up and decides, I'm not happy, and maybe it might be 10 years down the road, she can just pack some bags, man, and you know, y'all shake hands, and then she leave, and it's no courts, it's no lawyers, it's no nothing. She can just go, and everybody's cool. You know, y'all don't have to fight and all of this, and she will not have a right to any of your money. She won't have a right to any of your property, nothing, unless she paid for it. If it's hers, you know, give her stuff. Don't be bleaching nothing and tearing stuff up and setting shit on fire. Give her stuff, be cool, help her load it up, help her get packed and everything, you know what I'm saying? Be cool, be adults about it. But in this situation, you know, y'all gotta keep it where you all are cool adults and not bickering and arguing and fighting and trying to burn each other's stuff up. I mean, if y'all been together for 5 or 10 years before she flipped and ready to dip, you know, if y'all been cool for the most part and she hadn't been sleeping with everybody in your contact list, right? Then just be cool, help her pay her moving expenses, and maybe help her pay her security deposit on her new place, you know, help her get moved and stuff, man. Y'all be cool and stop all that arguing and fighting and all that little petty shit, and y'all go out clean cut, no cops, no lawyers, just part with a hug and leave each other alone like adults. And y'all might even still be able to be friends, man. They don't even have to take all of that, right? It might only cost you $500 to $1,000 to break it off smooth, man. You know, without all that legal bullshit and everything. You know, no alimony, no child support. You good now, bro. See what I'm saying? That's kind of the way. That's really like the best possible outcome that you can have in a breakup. Clean, no courtrooms, no child support, no alimony, and you all don't end up as mortal enemies, stalking each other and, you know, banging on each other's doors and calling each other all the time and, you know, cussing each other out, you know what I'm saying? But if y'all could just be cool, you know, that's a rare situation these days because people are so childish and ignorant and petty. And that's primarily because most people didn't grow up with a good father. But that's a whole nother video. So lastly, in the extreme rare case that y'all actually end up staying together for a lifetime, I mean, we're really in fantasy land now. But it's funny because a lot of people today like to use the relationships of their grandparents who may have stayed together for a lifetime as an example to prove that they can do it too right now today, right? They know it's possible because they did it. It can happen. My grandma was with my grandfather, da-da-da-da-da. My great-grandmama was with my great-grandfather, da-da-da-da-da. They did it, so I know I could. What they fail to realize is that so many people were able to do it back then because the environment was designed to foster that kind of long-term relationship, right? Just like there used to be a time on this planet when the atmospheric pressures and high oxygen contents allowed for there to be giant reptiles and giant humans on the earth. Y'all heard about the giants and all of this stuff. You know, they even grew giant fruits and vegetables. Watermelon so big that one man couldn't carry it, right? And that's because the environment fostered and supported all of that, okay? Well, that environment is gone. And our grandparents and great-grandparents also lived during a time that fostered and supported family. Now, granted, let's be honest here. It was primarily designed to support white families, but black families were also able to thrive and grow because they lived in the same environment. They ain't really setting nothing up for no black folk back then, but they were able to kind of benefit just by being in the overspray of the environment. You see what I'm saying? So, in fact, if you go back in 20s, 30s and 40s, black people had huge families, all right? And the fathers was there and he could afford all of them. Why can't they afford these huge families today? So I'm saying something changed. It was a different atmosphere. It was a different environment. That's what I'm saying. So today we can't even understand how a man could afford to feed a family of 8 or 13 or more. But it was actually easier to do back then, even with all the limitations that they had. And they was dealing with the racism and the lynchings and KKK out there and everything, you know, all this stuff going on. But it was easier for them to thrive back then than it is today, because almost all of them had these big victory gardens in their backyards. All we have today is grass that we can't stand, don't want nothing to do with it, don't want to cut it, and don't want to be bothered with it, right? We just got the grass up there. You look in your backyard, it was like really no backyard. That whole backyard was a garden. So that's the difference. That's one of the differences, okay? So our ancestors had food all back there, man, and it grew from the ground. But just try and get one of these modern black women to go out there today and work in that hot sun, you know, taking care of a garden. They don't even want to just microwave you some food out of the freezer. You talking about putting them out in the sun? Come on, man. None of this is happening anymore. See, that's what I'm talking about. But, you know, you talking about a garden, man. Look, maybe you'll find one. But personally, I've only come across maybe 5 or 6 black women in my whole life who said that they like gardening. See? So, you know, that's just me. Maybe y'all know a lot of them that want to do gardening and they actually like being out there and, you know. But like I said, the environment no longer exists to support that life. And neither does the mindset. The mindset has changed. See? Food is actually free. They say that money doesn't grow on trees. Yeah, but food does. See? But these modern folk out here today, they forget that. And they'll literally sit there in their little homes and these little hot little apartments and they'll starve to death, and they got their children starving, talking about, I can't afford no food, I can't afford to feed these kids, and da-da-da-da, you know. And some of them literally too dumb, they don't even know how to go down and get on welfare. Or some of them might be too proud to get on welfare. Some of them, they're talking about that pride or whatever, I can't take no welfare. There's all kinds of stuff, but they'll be in there starving to death. The ones out there sleeping on the streets, they just sitting out there with their hands cupped, waiting on handouts and stuff. And some of them are actual homeless. They really, some of them really are. Most of them just looking for free money, but there really are some that are actually homeless, and they actually are hungry. But food is free, and they forgot about all that. So even just a single tomato plant in one little pot can give you so many tomatoes that you can't even eat them all. Plant an apple tree in your backyard and you got free apples for life. My grandparents on my mama's side had a huge victory garden with every kind of vegetable you can imagine back there in that garden. My grandfather was growing potatoes, carrots, and squash and watermelons. He had a grapevine back there, and they had that. So he had the grapes, two different. He had the green grapes and he had the red grapes. He had all of them back there, man. He was growing cucumbers and lettuce and all of this stuff, man. So now with the apple trees, he had pear trees, plum trees, and a nectarine tree. And we would just sit back there in those trees, man, climb up in them, and just sit back and be laid back, man, you know, just lounging in the tree and just, you know, pluck some fruit and just sitting up there eating, man. Just eat up there for hours, just chilling in the tree, man, just eating for free. All this stuff was free. Go get you a bag of plums and nectarines and apples now and see how much that's gonna cost you. But we could go back there all day, every day. There was so many that they drop off the tree, they'd be all over the ground, man. It was more than you could eat. We didn't think anything about it. We thought it was normal. We thought everybody, you know, had that. But today, that sounds like an unbelievable paradise. People today have never heard of such a thing outside of a fantasy movie or a book. But yeah, that's because it's a totally different world now. See, that's what I'm saying. So those families were large and they were close. They spent a lot of time together and they did things together. And the father was there and the mother wasn't loud. She wasn't cussing everybody out. She wasn't covered in tattoos and piercings hanging all out of her nose and bull rings hanging out of her nose, looking like a bull down there at the Spanish bullfights, you know, and everything. Just what makes somebody put this big metal ring in their nose, hanging all down in their lip, and they just walking? I don't know, man. It's crazy. Like tattoos all on the face and the neck and everything, man. Fake hair, fake nails, man. I don't know. Like I said, it's so different than how we came up. And I have never been attracted to any of that. Again, that's another reason men see that. We immediately, bam, go another way. We off over here. We're not over here with the tattoos and the wigs and the fake nails and the fake this and the fake plastic BBLs. We over here. And that's why they sitting over here talking about, where's the men at?
Welcome out to Thailand. Step right off the plane, make it rain like it's my land. So tell me why she smiling. Travel 1,000 miles just to see her take a bow in. Perfect place she come to party, I was hella patient. Whole day we zooming out for Richie's celebration. Yacht party, golf tourney, island party. You can bring a Thai shorty, Richie bring him out naughty. Don't let it ruin you. Meet a couple influencers. Snap some pictures, share your ditches. Paradise, we do it up. A welcome dinner, we hit Walking Street. Yeah, you do a lot of talking, but here talk is cheap. We in Thailand. We in Thailand. We in Thailand. It's getting hot, somebody call a fireman. 12 nights in paradise, baby. That's right. 2 cities, 1 island. A welcome dinner, a yacht party, a meet and greet with all your fellow YouTubers. And we gon' hit Walking Street. Sunni's barbershop, Taylor Soups, which is an option. Golf tournament, baby, for all you putters and bowlers. In the island party where you can bring a Thai girl of your guest. That's right, a celebration dinner and your last night in Pattaya. You can rest when you get back to the Matrix, baby. This is courtesy of the Travel OG.
FBI. Even though I don't think I'll ever get married again, I have an FBI woman here in Thailand. Let me present the evidence. She's feminine. She's beautiful. And by the way she takes care of me, she inspires me every day.
I don't ask for this right together. This is what she do.
She lets me get my work done. She doesn't nag. She makes me breakfast every morning. And she can fry some chicken. Taj know how to fry. I even taught her how to make grits. She makes me grits in the morning. She's learning pancakes. She's a good cook. I mean, whatever I like or whatever makes me happy, that's what she does to keep me happy. And I do the same for her. She makes me dinner at night if we don't go out. She brings me tea before she goes to bed.
Yeah, Noodle, walking it out. Huh, Noodle? Huh, we walking it out. Say, walk it out.
Walking out.
Yeah.
She even took up golf because she saw it was something I enjoyed doing. I told her Tiger Woods was half black and half Thai, and she lost her mind. Can you believe it's a lot of people in Thailand under a certain age that don't know Tiger Woods is half Thai? To me, that's like black people not knowing Obama's half black. Sometimes I think she likes golfing better than me. All right, this is what we do. We golfing in the house. Show him, Noodle. Let me see you hit the golf ball. Show him that you know how to golf. Don't break a window, all right? Nice. Nice. That's how you golf with the big old leg? All right, don't I get a turn? When's it my turn? Oh, you missed the whole damn ball. All right. All right, you better not break a window. There you go. We see you. She plays the Oculus Quest with me, dropping it like it's hot, punching and ducking. She's down for trying just about anything with me, including taking a dip in the pool. There you go. Being a domestic partner is normal for her. I take care of the bills, she takes care of the house. That's the kind of world I want to live in. Let me give you another example. As I'm editing, she'll see my fingernails are dirty and start cutting my nails. I can't make this up. I'm up here trying to edit Zoom to Thailand Part 2, Thailand versus Philippines. And this one, she got to do this while I'm working. See, this is why it takes me so long to get my episodes done. You finished? You said loud? That's one, but I'll take it. To some American women, this is a bad or weak thing. Not to her, and definitely not to me. This is my version of FBI. And when I take her out, she looks beautiful for me. And she already has beautiful brown skin, and sometimes she curls it up to give her that biracial look. I'm not saying all women in Thailand are like this, but I'm saying when you're dating a woman in her 30s, it's a good chance this is what you're going to get. Like my man Skylar says, I'm waiting for somebody in the chat room that's been here to tell me I'm lying. This is my partner in crime, my lover, my friend, my translator, my right hand here in Thailand. And the craziest part of it all, the women outnumber the men here, it seems like 40-1. Thai women love black men. I'm going to do an episode on that as well. Look at the Dam people. Look at the Dam.
You like this color?
My Dam. Dam means black in Thai. And after she saw those ladies and saw I like that color, guess what she did? Went right out and laid out and got dark. That's my girl. Join the family, y'all. I'm going to keep bringing you quality videos, but I need you to support the channel by subscribing and comment to let me know how I'm doing or any suggestions you might have to keep you motivated. I don't understand how people be hating on people for having passports. But if you really want to hate, you can hate on me.
We over here, and we not coming nowhere over there. Don't want to be bothered with it, but that's... Anyway. So yeah, so you didn't have that back then. You know, all that cussing. You know, swinging and beating on everybody. You see them on the videos, man. Jumping on everybody at the McDonald's. Jumping on everybody at Target and Walmart. Dragging each other around and through the aisles and ripping each other's fake plastic braids out and they get done fighting, man, braids all over the floor. Brother got to go down there, and security got to go after the fight and pick up all their fake hair, man. That fake, nasty, lice-encrusted hair. See? So the women back there were not lazy, pus-boiled bumps sitting around the house all day, covered in these tattoos with the plastic hair, watching reality TV all day. Those women back then were either at work and then coming home to tend to the garden and taking care of her family, or she was at home taking care of her family and tending to the garden. Then she'd have the children out there with her also, helping her in the garden, helping her take care of things around the house. And then she's showing them how to do it. So as the children grew up, they also knew how to plant seeds, how to harvest, and how to get their crops coming in, the tomatoes and cucumbers and stuff coming in. They knew how to go out there and pluck them and put them in the basket and bring them down in the basement and set them up. So, because then the next step, that was just the first step. The next step is that the woman would can the food after they pulled it out the ground. They canned it. So we say can today, but actually what they were doing is they're putting them in jars. And there's a way to do it so that the food from the gardens and trees can sit on that shelf for years. Once it's canned properly, put into the jars. Once it's in the jars properly, it can be stored for years. See? And it's still good when they open it. They might put it in there in 1971. Come 1985, they might decide to go ahead and open up some jars of string beans, jars of tomatoes. Maybe something happened. There was a blackout and the stores was closed. They go down there in the pantry, man, and get some string beans and some tomatoes and maybe some lettuce or something like that. And they were good. They probably go get the lettuce right out the yard because it's still growing. See? And they make salads and stuff, and they got a full meal, but they didn't go to the store. See? So today we use those vacuum seal bags, all right, which seems to be a lot faster and safer because using those jars was apparently very time consuming. And if you did it wrong, the food could go bad in that jar. So if you didn't realize it and you ate it later and it wasn't sealed right in that jar, you could end up in a hospital or worse, all right? But either way, the gardens produce so much food that they had to preserve most of it. They just couldn't eat it all, right? Now, back in the 30s and 40s, they were worried about, you had World War I, you had World War II, and then later on they had the Vietnamese War, they had all of that going on, Korean War, all this stuff, war after war after war, right? So they were going through these economic depressions here in this country, see? The stores going down, not a lot of food on the shelf and all of this kind of thing going down. So the people couldn't afford to go shopping all the time like we do now. And even if they did, it was sometimes it wasn't nothing on the shelf. So the smart folks would go and live off their gardens and their preserves. That was the purpose of having all of that stored down there. My grandparents had that. You had to go down in the basement. It was deep. It was down in there too. And once you got down there, you didn't need air conditioning. It was just cold down there. And so they got down there, and then you went to the left. It was kind of big, so you went to the left, and then there was another room off of that, and you went back there, and then there was a closet room off of that room, and you open up the door, and it was all these shelves, like from floor to ceiling, from this wall, across that wall, and across that wall, and they put all their jars of vegetables and preserves and everything in there, and you could go down there and open one of those up and be eating good, man. See? So the ones who were not on those levels, though, they would have to go down and stand in line for hours waiting on what they called food ration cards. So today we call it welfare, but they had cards and they had ration. They would ration the food after you give them the card. They punch your ticket and you could get a certain amount of meat, you could get a certain amount of bread, a certain amount of cheese, and a certain amount of cereal. They give you like a box and they had your rations in there. And then that was how they ate back then when they was going through all of that stuff during the wars and everything, all right? But if we had to depend on these women today to handle anything like that, it's over. These women laid up watching TV, man, or they working across town at Verizon, while her man struggled alone to start his business. Almost every man over 30 has been through this and knows what I'm talking about. So How you gonna spend 40 to 50 years with a woman whose primary focus is herself and her career and her happiness? And the answer is that you can't, because he's just sitting there on his own at this point. He don't have no woman. He by himself. She there, and she's benefiting from everything he brings into the house, but he not getting nothing out of it. See, that's what I'm telling you. And eventually he's gonna wake up and he gonna go this other direction, just like everybody else been doing. So but if you do find that unicorn woman, then most likely you will actually both have common interests. That's how you know y'all got something in common. Y'all into the same stuff. Y'all just vibing, and it's just there. Y'all don't have to struggle to be in each other's presence. That's kind of these little signs. You know how they got all the red flags, and to avoid the red flags. Well, those are some of the green flags, right? And y'all got something in common. Y'all have some common interests. Those are green flags. Now, see, that's one thing that I've always admired about a lot of white folks, Mexicans, and Asians, is that they seem to have this mastered. Everybody gets it except these black women. If you look at any other man from any of these other races, let's say that they have a farm or some kind of restaurant or some other kind of business, then it becomes a family business. You see, the whole family works there to help, including the wife, right? So the man in the back cooking, she's running the register, right? Kids over there straightening up the dining area. You all have seen this, especially in these Asian restaurants, right? So now they have common interests. They got something in common. They're doing the same thing all day, every day, you see? So while the man is out, they say they got a farm. The man is out on the plow. Well, he's out there on the plow, and while he's doing that, she's in the barn milking the cows. If he's slopping the pigs, she's feeding the chickens. You see what I'm saying? While they're doing all of that, the kids are over on the other side feeding the goats. See? So that's a whole family thing. That's a family farm. All right? But in the black community, the black man might be, let's say, setting up a recording studio. But if his wife isn't about to be in there trying to be the next big superstar in the spotlight, right? Then usually she's across town answering phones for Mellon Bank, not interested, or she's processing some checks. They doing answering phones or processing checks. You know what I'm saying? Those are the two main jobs that they usually had always been into for years. I don't know if that's changed or not now, but that was big. That was big back in the day. Or a lot of times now they working from home, and she's upstairs in her own office doing her own thing. But what she's not doing is in the studio with him, setting up microphones and connecting cables, on her hands and knees up under the desk trying to connect and plug in the power strip for him and make sure everything's set up right, running cables behind the speakers and everything. She ain't, while he's on check one, he's running the computer. She ain't doing none of that. See, he's on his own with that. And then even when he's finished, maybe all he's got is a little laptop and a little keyboard. Man, she ain't in there for that. See, she ain't trying to figure out how to use the new music production software that he's got hooked to that. She ain't fooling with that. That's him. Good luck. She gone. Got the TV on. Her show coming on. See what I'm saying? So she's not in there doing his audio editing. When he gets done and then she edits the audio, she in that little room all day. She's in her room, he in his room. She upstairs, he downstairs, or vice versa. But once it's big and he's on pro level, now here she come, ready for her debut album. You see what I'm saying? But that's for her, not for him. Now she down there with him. But that's because she's trying to get her album made. She's trying to sing. She want to dance. She want to be on camera. She's trying to be in that next Diddy video. You know what I'm saying? That's not for him. But if it's going to work, y'all want those lifetime relationships, and so then if you want that, then she needs to put the work in to match his vibe. She needs to get into what he's interested in and get off that it's all about me thing, all that bullshit. It's all about me, it's my thing. That's all they. See what I'm saying? You got to get off of that. They got that from that reality TV. That's where you pick that shit up at, right? And she needs to start watching movies that he likes and watch them with him And not only that, but make them special and hook up the nacho platter and the pizza for y'all to munch on while y'all chilling with the movie.
Oh, hold up, that joint right there, sizzling right there, family. Oh, thank you. Yo, oh, look at this joint sizzle. You hear that joint sizzling, family? You hear that joint sizzling? Oh, stop playing with your boy. Stop playing with your boy. Whoa. Oh, man.
That's how y'all do it, man. But, oh, they don't like that. No, he ain't doing that, see? They're all out there saying now. I can hear it. Why I gotta watch what he watch? You know, why I gotta do what he interested in? What about me? So here we go. What about what I like? See what I'm saying? Well, it's for two reasons. Okay, one, y'all in the bullshit to melt your brains. Your brains come running out your nose with this shit that they watch. Okay, that's why. Reality TV, talk shows, sitting there all day watching Wendy Williams talk about other people's business in Hollywood all day, or that Atlanta Housewives, basketball housewives, superstar housewives, NFL housewives, all this bullshit, man. It's all garbage. And ain't no man sitting there watching that. He'll come away from that retarded trying to watch that shit. See? And then after you finish looking at it, y'all end up mean as hell, because that's all you've been watching for the last 2 hours is women arguing, fighting, and talking about their emotions nonstop. And he ain't doing this and he ain't doing that. And, you know, I feel like that and I feel like it. I just think that, you know, and that you watch that for hours, man. So when you turn it off and it's over, man, and you take that energy back to your man, and now he can't get along with you because you reflecting what you soaked up off of there. But the man might be watching maybe a war movie, you know, History Channel, Science Channel. Hell, I like Godzilla movies. You know what I'm saying? Women don't want to see that shit because to them, that's all nonsense and silliness and foolishness and childishness. But for me, I'm an artist, all right? So watching or buying a Godzilla or a King Kong movie for me is like collecting art, because that's what it is. It's all art and computer graphics, and that's what I do, right? So I'm not on the level of making a Godzilla movie yet, but I'm not that damn far off from it either. You see what I'm saying? So the special effects for the last big movie that they had, Godzilla versus King Kong, cost around 155 to 200 million. Theirs look like this. All right, so that 155 to 200 million accounts for almost the whole budget of the whole movie. All right, so it's a $200 million movie. The majority of that went to the special effects. Okay, so if I got a woman who couldn't care less about any of that, you know, then we got nothing to talk about, because I'm upstairs working on it all day, every day. I'm up there learning new things and getting new technology to be able to start getting into that deeper and deeper, going deeper into that kind of thing, being able to produce that, you know, see how close I can come. So, you know, I'm up there working on some kind of project all day. I always got something going on. Y'all see it? That's where this stuff is coming from. I'm up here now. All right. So I'm not saying that I need somebody like right there on my shoulder from sun up to sundown. We ain't talking about that. That's crazy. But, you know, I mean, I need space to work and think, you know, I need time, you know, get my mind where I need it to be for this kind of stuff. But I'm only saying that if a woman has zero interest and appreciation for what I'm doing, and I'm sure I speak for other men, you know, when I say if a woman can't appreciate what he's doing, what the next man is doing, whatever he's in. A lot of guys under their cars, they into these muscle cars, they get these really bad cars, you know, the slick and, you know, the Dodge, you know, different muscle cars they got out here now. And if she's not into that, but that's what he does, maybe rebuilding engines, fixing cars, repairing cars. You got some that actually like to test themselves and start building a car in the garage. And she ain't into that. He's out there all day, every day in that garage by himself building that car. She not out there handing him no tools. She's not asking him how's it coming. She's not taking no food out to him. She's upstairs or she's across town. He's up underneath that car all by himself all day long. That's not gonna work. You see? So eventually, they're both gonna come to the same conclusion. Why am I here? Why are we together? See what I'm saying? And so if I'm working on something and ain't nobody coming in talking about what you're working on, and how did you do that? That's awesome. Like, wow, how'd you do that? What did you use for that? Show me how you did. You know, if she don't have an interest in it, then again, why is she here? See? So even if I'm watching the show on History Channel, I'm learning from some of these shows. So for a long time, I give you an example. I was watching this one show called Forged in Fire. Y'all ever heard of Forged in Fire? It was extremely interesting because metal forging is one of the foundations of building an advanced civilization. That's what takes you out of the Stone Age and puts you into the Metal Age, the Copper Age, the Bronze Age, the Iron Age, you know, is to be able to forge and to convert and change metals into alloys and make up stronger metals and then to make them into things that you can use. So I don't have the proper facilities to even try it, and I wouldn't try it. I ain't trying to. You make a mistake with some hot metal, man, you're done. All right, but it's really interesting. And as an artist, there's always a part of me that wants to see how good I could really get with that if I had a chance. You know, what could I do with it? You know, because I get on art and graphics and animation and stuff, and I found that I have a knack for it. Well, I always wonder, what if I start trying to make swords and knives and switchblades, and could I do it? I wonder what I could do with that, you know. I probably wouldn't stay with it. Once I saw that I could do it, I'd probably be off onto something else, because that's a lot of work and it's very expensive to set all of that stuff up and have the access to the, you know, the burners and stuff that you need. You know, so that's not something to just play with, to get in there and mess around with, but it'd be interesting to see what I could have done. So, but anyway, these people can get on there and they just take a few scraps of metal from almost anything. Just take that metal, heat it up, hammer it into shape, and then grind it into these elaborate, beautiful swords that's so sharp they can cut through paper. You know, and they all kinds of different weapons, and a mace and shields, and you know, and this is how the whole world was built. But women couldn't care less. See, that's why I laugh when I see them online talking about, you know, we don't need no man, we don't need no man to survive, we don't need nothing. And then they took these women, y'all see, that's famous now. They put women on the island, and they put men on this side of the island, and put women on that side of the island. And the men was over there partying and hanging out and having a ball. They had food going. They had built their shelters. And the women was over here sleeping in the rain and arguing and fighting with each other. And they almost died. And the actual film crew had to go in and save them because they was having heat stroke and they didn't know how to cook. They couldn't kill the animal to cook it and make it into food. So they say when they get comfortable back at the house, when they back on land, back in civilization, we don't need you. But then you put them out in the wild and they almost die within like days. So
We have nothing to drink. We don't know where we are.
I don't want to sound too cocky too early.
No, I don't think we should.
I don't think we should at all. No. But right now,
we're winning.
Julie, you just order me about all the time.
I would please leave you. Just.
If she goes on about those potatoes anymore, I'm going to stab her.
This is the male version.
I feel dreadful. Honestly, I feel absolutely dreadful. I never thought I would be so desperate for food and water.
The water was not an issue. Yeah. And actually dehydration was your own fault rather than lack of water.
The expedition party are dehydrated, hopelessly lost and wandering directionless.
Walking is painful now.
All night, no dry clothes and no fire, because we have to make mistakes.
A huge fucking snake came towards me. It came right at me.
We've just caught a prehistoric animal.
to be with my family, and I just need to be at home.
All the decisions we've made thus far have been made collaboratively. We've not needed to conform to a system where there's a leader.
Are you serious?
Call the medic!
That's what I'm saying. But if you're talking about forging, there's men that can take a couple hunks of metal and forge it into weapons. It's just, that's their gift, that's their skill. And I watched about 4 or 5 seasons of that show, and I only remember like 3 or 4 women ever being on that show. It was about 3 or 4 different ones that I remember seeing. So that's kind of the ratio. It's 5 seasons of all men and just maybe a handful of women, okay, that have been on there. So what's interesting is that if a man built a new town and could make all the horse and buggies with his skill, like the Amish, that's another group I really admire, is their industrial skills are second to none. Their families and communities are strong and productive, and they can work together on everything that they do. All of them out there building a barn, all of them building a restaurant. You see what I'm saying? But if some brothers built up a little town like that with their bare hands, just like the Amish, see? And I always thought that'd be cool though, if for some of us, that was on those levels to go out there and connect with the Amish and get some land and start building, and then work in conjunction with them to build up these kind of little communities of people that kind of living off the land. I thought it'd be pretty cool. But there ain't no black women going out there to help with that. Breaking them plastic fingernails and sweating up their wigs and all the makeup running down their face. They're not going out there sweating in the sun, helping nobody build no barn, or helping these women slaughter a hog so that they can make the dinner and stuff. You see what I'm saying? But when it's finished, now they're ready to come in and try the restaurant, try the food that y'all made, and live on the land, and get comfortable up in the houses y'all just built, and benefit from what they have all put together. Now they want to be a part of the community, but not necessarily being there to help physically build it. See what I'm saying? Not these ones today. Back in the day, they was more in with that. Today, nah. You see what I'm saying? Let them break one of them little plastic nails off, man. They'll kill you. See? So I had a big screen TV. I was moving it out, and she dropped her end of it, and I said, "Why you drop?" Because my nail was about to scrape the concrete. Just drop. It didn't get damaged. Fortunately, it was still in the box, but she just dropped it on the ground because her nail was going get ready to get scratched. See, that's what I'm talking about. So, meanwhile, when it's all built up and they're comfortable, and the men have built the washing machines and built the stove, they got the stove in there going for it, and everything is automatic, and she don't have to do no work anymore. Everything is right there. You just go in this room and press a button, go in that room, press a button, pull that lever, everything work for you automatically. That's when they change up on you right there and say, "Hey, I'm good. I got everything I need now. So we don't need no man." See, that's where that came from. That's how they got like that. Because once they was comfortable, I don't need you no more. I'm good. You gotta watch that kind of stuff, man. Somebody, you hook them up, they get, and I've had it happen. I'm comfortable. They change up once they get comfortable. See, so a lot of women will say, "No, that's not me. I would never do that." Right? But they did do it back in the past. They have done it. Many are still doing it, and that's exactly how America got like it is right now. That's how we got here. That's how we got into this situation that we are in right now in America today. They got comfortable and they turned on their men. And that's why they keep women in other places around the world. That's why they keep them so suppressed and controlled and got their foot down on their neck. They ain't allowed to raise their voice. They're not allowed to get physical out in the street with nobody, out in public, and all that yelling and screaming. You can't do that anywhere else. See, that's only here. And they're not doing that to be mean, but it's because they don't want their women to cause their civilizations to fall. Because their women, they don't want their women to turn on them and start running wild in the streets like they did here. So you can see the results of it. You let them go wild, they tear everything up, man, go crazy, go buck wild. You know, you don't tell me what to do, right? Smash your store up and everything and knock all your stuff over and then storm out and nobody touch her. You do that overseas, you do that somewhere else, it's gonna go a whole nother way. You know, it'll go away in a sense that you can't even show what happened to them on the internet. They would blur it out, they'd be banned, censored because of what they would do to somebody, to a woman that did that. You can't do that. Nope. But so yeah, so if it's gonna work for the women, they need to get a man who is doing something with himself and who has a track record of accomplishments. And then you match his vibe, find out what he's into, and then get on board with him, right? Match his vibe. Let all that silly shit you into go. You either riding with your man or you're not. And only one person can drive the damn car, okay? And he don't need you trying to grab the wheel, all right? Nor does he want to hear your mouth from sun up to sundown, okay? So women control access to sex, but men control access to relationships. So if you want a relationship, then you have to act like it and be on board with his agenda and get in step with how he's moving, or you just in the damn way. But if you can't get on a man's vibe and you can't sync with him and you can't get into what he's into, don't give a damn what this man into, you know, you go do your thing, I'm gonna do my thing over here. Then, you know, if you can't let his energy and his vibe guide you, and you can't be his helpmate, which is why you were put here in the first place. Women were put here to be the helpmate, right? I mean, they all call themselves a Christian, and that's in their Bible, but they don't believe it and don't live by it. Call yourself all this. That's why I don't get in with all this Christian stuff, man, because they talk all that shit, man. And the Bible say this, and the Bible, but they don't do none of it. Okay, so that's one of the first things that say is that she was put here as a helpmate, and they don't even follow the first damn thing in there. All right. So, but if that's not you, and you can't do it, and you're not into it, and you ain't trying to be his helpmate, you're not trying to get on his vibe, you're not interested in what he's into, don't want to learn it, don't want to hear about it, well, as was once said by someone we all know and love,
buy a dog and die alone.
Wow.
That's what you get when you want to be that's what you want to get when you put your degree above everything else. It's because this is about you. You already say you have what many women would love right now, a successful, attractive man who wants to marry you, but yet you feel like you need to go out and get a degree so you can become a research analyst and work for the government. So that's your man.
Peace.